What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with RK Outpost, and we got some news today that is not a joke, even though it's April Fool's, and could have very big implications for the future of the Snyderverse at Warner Media, Warner Brothers, HBO Max, all of these things. This is crazy. I was not expecting this to happen. Ava DuVernay's New Gods, James Wan's The Trench, DC movies not moving forward at Warner Brothers. Now, we all know that when it comes to the DCEU, when it comes to Warner Brothers, it is an absolute disaster. They can never decide what they want to do. Projects sit there in limbo for years and are eventually canceled. That's what we've seen for a long time. It's probably what we're going to continue to see with some of these projects that are there. However, Ava DuVernay's New Gods is the one that I want to focus on right now. That is the one that I do think is very much connected to Zack Snyder's Justice League and any potential chances of restoring the Snyderverse. James Wan's The Trench movie, not so much. I honestly don't think there's really a need for that. We are having an Aquaman 2. There's already a lot on DC's plate. But New Gods is the one that I am going to focus very much on in this video today. Now, personally, I would love a New Gods movie. I would love a story that is focused on New Genesis and Apocalypse and the history between them. But we have already seen some of these characters in Zack Snyder's Justice League. We have seen Steppenwolf. We have seen Darkseid. We have seen Desaad. We have seen Granny Goodness. So if there is going to be a story that is told with them, to be honest with you, after the reception of Zack Snyder's Justice League, it really does need to be in that continuity. Let's just be honest with ourselves. And Ava DuVernay and Tom King have been working on this movie since 2018. Ava DuVernay, I've said it a lot, I do not like her. I think that she is a bad director. I think she is completely focused on identity politics. I think she is very, very woke, and I do not like her movies. Tom King is the writer who single-handedly turned Batman into an absolute cuck. I do not like Tom King, and the idea of both of them together writing a New God story, not something that I was interested in any way, shape, or form, but now that's no longer happening. The terror of the deep and the fire of Apocalypse won't be felt anytime soon. We already felt the fire of Apocalypse, trust me. Warner Brothers and DC Films' upcoming slate is moving forward without Ava DuVernay's New Gods and James Wan's Aquaman spinoff, The Trench. As part of our DC slate, some legacy development titles, including New Gods and The Trench, will not be moving forward, Warner Brothers and DC said in a statement. We thank our partners Ava DuVernay, Tom King, James Wan, and Peter Safran for the time and collaboration during the process. Look forward to our continued partnership with them on other DC stories. The projects will remain in their skillful hands if they were to move forward in the future. Now, this is all part of Walter Hamada's universe that he's building over there at DC Films, that they have no interest in Zack Snyder in any way, shape, or form. They want to focus on the things that they have planned in the future. Well, two of those things are no longer happening. New Gods, which DuVernay had been developing as a directing vehicle with acclaimed comic book writer Tom King since 2018, would have brought on the screen the comic book characters created by the late and legendary artist Jack Kirby. DuVernay, however, remains in the DC fold and is currently working on the DC series Naomi for the CW. That is where Ava DuVernay belongs, on the CW. That is freaking made for her over with those woke CW shows. They talk about how there is a potential that they could be picked up later if they wanted to continue on. DC is currently building an interconnected slate in which projects will feed in and out of the big screen and the small, with films like James Gunn's The Suicide Squad spinning off into the John Cena-led HBO Max series Peacemaker, and then Matt Reeves' Batman and its own Gotham Police Department show. Now, they do show this. Ava DuVernay did have a reply out there. And, for these individuals, from the individual perspective, yeah, it probably sucks if you're working on something like that for years and it gets pulled out from under you. Ultimately, I think that this is the right thing to happen. I think it's the right thing to happen in general because I don't like these people and I don't like these creators. And I also think that is the right thing if we want to restore the Snyderverse, if we want to see Justice League 2, if we want to see Justice League 3, if we want to see all of these things that reportedly talks are heating up for, restoring the Snyderverse, I think that this is something that definitely frees up a way to go. And we're going to say what Zack Snyder said, because Zack Snyder has actually posted something, maybe unrelated, maybe completely related. We will get to that, don't worry. But first, let's read this. Tom, I loved writing New Gods with you. I'm upset that the saga of Barda, Scott, Granny, Highfather, and the Furies ends this way. Diving into Kirby's fourth world was an adventure of a lifetime. That can't be taken away. Thank you for your friendship, and remember, #DarkSideIs. I would read you what Tom King said back, but Tom King is a fucking bitch. Tom King blocked me a long-ass time ago, so I don't know what Tom King said in response. I'm sure it was something heartfelt, but again, Tom King, a guy who made fun of someone after his dog died, a man who made Batman into a cuck and ruined the Batman Rebirth run, completely butchered it. Yeah, Tom King has me blocked, so I can't read what he said. It continues on. The article continues on. New Gods, which would have been a sprawling tale, was complicated by the fact that its villain Darkseid just appeared as a major foil in Zack Snyder's Justice League, and there was a desire to have space between the latter and any new appearances. Well, considering you wouldn't see this movie for another 3 years. They're still trying to figure out what the fucking story would be. So I don't think that really complicates things. As much as you want to blame Zack Snyder's Justice League for this, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I don't know. But either way, it definitely screws with what Walter Hamada had planned going forward. Now that's going to be changed. I think this is a good thing if you are someone who wants to restore the Snyderverse. Unless this movie was going to follow Zack Snyder's Justice League continuity, have all the same actors in it, have all the same designs, all the same lore, then yeah, I'm really not that interested in this movie. And I wanted to go to what Zack Snyder posted on Vero. He did post this today. I believe it was after this news came out. He posted the concept art for Granny Goodness. Granny Goodness, who we saw very briefly in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Granny, oh my goodness, thank you to JoJo for the design. And I do think this is an interesting take, and I like that take on Granny Goodness. I want to see more of her. I want to see more of the Darkseid and the Desaad and even the Steppenwolf. I want to know the story of how Steppenwolf came to be doing all these things to get back in Darkseid's good graces. I want to know the story of the New Gods, but I want to hear about it from Zack Snyder's Justice League's perspective, from the perspective of the Snyderverse. That is where these characters belong. That is where the story should be told. And I do think that this is a good thing and could potentially mean that the door is being opened to restore the Snyderverse. As far as James Wan's The Trench, I don't think it was necessary. I think they saw $1 billion, like, let's just do a bunch of spinoffs, and maybe got too aggressive with that. Let's see how Aquaman 2 does first. Then we can look at another spinoff for that. Feel bad for James Wan. I think he's a good filmmaker. We'll see what he does with Aquaman 2, but can't say I was super looking forward to The Trench either. What do you guys think about this, though? I want to hear your thoughts. Do you think that this is unrelated, completely has nothing to do with potentially restoring the Snyderverse? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a terrible thing? Were you really looking forward to this film, or like me, were you worried because of who was in charge of it? And do you think that this picture out on Vero, do you think that's related in any way, shape, or form? Let me know in the comments below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.